This is our second line. Welcome to Agriculture on Site. My guest today is Mr. Winston Babbage, the Vice President of the Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union on commodities. Mr. Babbage, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Busani. Good morning, viewers.
Maybe let's to kick off our conversation. Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union. Tell me more about them. What do they do? What is their role?
Busani, Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union is a union that represents farmers across the board that are producing commercially, whether they communal farmers, A1 farmers, large-scale farmers. As long as you're producing commercially, you can become our member. And we try and help wherever we can by advocacy and lobbying for better prices in the industry.
Interesting. Already you talk about lobbying. How effective is the lobbying, that a union like yours does, particularly for on challenges that really are affecting farmers? Our straight in bringing now, we just had the whole big challenge of the drought, and we've actually come out of a very bad season. What is the state now situation of farming?
Besides, to start off with, lobbying is a lot of things across the board. Lobbying in wages for a fair situation for the farmer and the employees. We sit on the board for NEC Agriculture, where we've got a team, or we've got a representative that goes on there and represents the farmer for a win-win situation in the wages that the employees would want. So it's a win-win situation along the whole value chain. Lobbying also is for prices, commodity prices, vegetables, livestock, the price of seed to produce our maize that makes meal meal for our staple diet. And the farmer users are right there. We have meetings with the minister every week to plot the way forward for the agricultural value chain. So as a union, our union sits on that board, and we're currently the chairman of FOFU, which is the Federation of Farmer Unions, where all the farmers got together to speak in one voice. And we are currently the chairperson. Our president, Dr. Mkombe, is the current chairman for FOFU. So we lead the reins for the farmer, and we represent them across the value chain.
Mm-hmm. What are the current challenges that are actually facing the
Well, as you said, now we had the drought. Yeah. The drought, but it's come from a bad beginning, it's now becoming positive. In this season, we got the rains now. Our livestock sector is going to be okay. People that planted their maize towards the end of the season are going to get a good yield. So it's promising to be okay, and the yield will be right. Our animals, the government came through and gave people seed for stock feed. So that's all happening, and I think the farming will be okay this year, sir. The farmers and our animals will survive.
There are projections that, yes, we would have a good harvest this year, and also that there could be a huge turnaround, in the livestock sector. But are we out of the woods yet?
Not yet, because now we faced a lot of diseases. I mean, all the rains, we've got lumpy skin, we've got botulism, and that's on the animal side. On the cropping side, yes. We've encouraged our farmers, particularly Matavila and the drought-prone areas, to produce small grain seeds, the millet, the nyawutis, and all those kind of things, sunflower, as opposed to doing maize, which is does not grow well in Matavila. So we got to get our provinces to interact, where what we don't produce, we give the other province. What they don't produce, we give. So it's a situation where the left hand washes the right hand, and we go forward as a country.
You mentioned that this move to actually encourage farmers, particularly in this region, to actually grow, a small grains, your millet, your sorghums. How well have you been able to get farmers to do this? Given there's also issue of incentives for farmers to actually grow those crops.
I think, as you're aware of, we've had the Pumbuza program that's been running for about the past 3-4 years, where government have been giving people small grains to open up the mindset so they can see the value of the small grains, as opposed to doing the typical maize that we've all grown to be adapted to. Small grains are doing well, and the government through Agritech and the farmer unions have been doing outreach to change the gospel to all our farmers to encourage them. Where we got it is that now we want a situation where the government can help them exchange some of the small grain at GMB for the maize, for their family needs and for their livestock needs. So that's the thing that we're going to ask government to do. But it is in place already, but we just want it formalized so that everybody knows right to the grassroots that if they produce millet or sunflower, they can go to any GMB, swap it for maize for their own feeding and animal well-being.
There's also the issue of when we talk about farmer viability, what barriers then are there that limit farmers' access maybe to issue of credit, loans and...
The new thing that's been implemented of title deeds for farmers, okay, that will actually unlock the value in the land. So we're very grateful to our president for opening this channel for us. And I'm sure it will go a long way to help the farmers unlock the value of the land to get loans from banks. Unfortunately, the first farmers that the title deeds, they won't have the title deeds, so they won't be able to borrow until they finish paying for the land. But we want to also encourage our farmers, those with livestock, offload some of the livestock and put it back in your land and encourage yourself and your workforce. The best thing is the key thing is the human resource. There's been a lot of worker migration. Our farms do not actually have a worker that stays there for more than 3 months. So there's apathy there. So once we get the farmer and the workers to be a formidable force, where the workers paid well and the farmer gets his revenue, our farming will succeed. But as long as we got that imbalance, nothing's going to happen. And as I said, if we get banks on board that can borrow us money to work, what a pleasure. But on the same time, I'd like to encourage farmers with title deeds for houses that they own in the city already. Use those title deeds to unlock the value of the potential on your farm. You should not be afraid to borrow from the bank if you're a successful and good farmer, using title deeds from your urban property to make your rural facility work.
Yeah, but already, yes, you are saying the issue of title deeds is gonna boost, the farmers' productivity as well as their viability. But have any of the farmers now actually been already given these title deeds?
Look, in Matabeleland, Busani, none have got some at the moment, but it's a process. And it's happening, it's going to happen. And unfortunately is that title deeds are not automatic. You get them, but you only get them after you pay off the value of your land or whatever you have got from the government. Be it if the farm was, if you got a property with an existing house and whatever developments were there, you got to pay back that to the government for them to get money. But the title deed will only be in your hands after you pay back the value of the land you have got from the government. So that gap is still a problem. So some people probably, if the government say give us a gestation of say 10 years to clear that loan. So for 10 years, you wouldn't have the title. It will still be in the hands of the government. So you'll still be locked. So production will still be down.
And then do you foresee farmers then benefiting?
Yes, they will.
If they still have to clear current,
Look, let's look at the farmers that exist, the colonial farmers that are there. It was a generation. Farming is generations. And I think since the land reform, we haven't even hit a generation yet. So our kids' kids will benefit from what we're doing now. And as a country, we'll go forward from what have been set at this base today, of which has been implemented by the government.
Yeah, farming involves money. It needs quite a big chunk of financing for various operations. I'm wondering here how are actually farmers being able to have access to to credit, to loans, given the situation that you're saying, yes, one banks usually would want collateral. What are you doing to actually?
Thanks, Pusani, for that question. Farming has been hand to mouth for the farmers currently, current farmers on the ground, been hand to mouth. Some have benefited with what they've been doing, selling their maize to GMB production. We've had command agriculture, which helped a lot. We've had outgrow schemes with lots of stakeholders, the Chinese, be it people that are doing tobacco. The outgrowth scheme actually helps where some of the farmers get some money and they reset that money back into their operation. So once that reset and the money is recapitalized into the operation, we get there. But it's all a process. Farming is a process like anything else.
What are the opportunities of bringing in the private sector really into farming?
Private sector are key because industry revolves around each other. The value chain. For industry, let's look at national foods. For them to produce a bag of maize, they got to go to the farmer. So without the farmer, they won't get their production, won't work. So they should actually be the ones doing the outgrow schemes, giving the farmer the maize inputs and getting back to back for the farmers the maize crop for them to run through their factories.
Are these value chains really working? For you now and for farmers.
They are to an extent, but we've actually had a lot of problems where farmers start side marketing because what will happen is that the person they've been in bed with now dictates the issue. I know, look, the feedlot situation when it started in Matabeleland, it went on crazy. But at the end of the time, you're obliged to deal with the person that helped you at base, and the prices are now are uneven to what the price will be on the open market. So that's where the thing becomes bad. But if it was a win-win situation for everybody, there'll be no problems, there'll be no hiccups. We've got to teach ourselves values. Where the industry is there, the farm, it must be a win-win situation for everybody. And the playing field must be even.
What is your union actually doing to try and resolve this?
The commodities which fall under my portfolio, we go out trying to get negotiating things for people, so it's a win-win situation. But unfortunately in our country where things change, the dynamics change so much. It's been a bit difficult, but we are getting there. And I assure you that within the next 5-10 years, things will be okay and farming will be a good business.
Talking of trying to actually ensure that the commodities are viable for farmers, I'm curious really to find out here, are farmers getting really the value of the right prices for their commodities in the current situation?
Well, you look at the situation now, look like cattle today. Abattoirs are probably paying $3 a kg, probably $3 a kg to the farmer. The butchers are selling at $6. That gap is where the problem is.
How do you close that gap?
You see, this way you look at some people out there throughout the whole value chain. Someone is a butcher, someone is a farmer, is an abattoir, is a butcher. So he's there throughout the value chain. But there's some people that haven't got that opportunity. So this is the gap we're trying to bring down so that we don't get consumer resistance. Because the more the retailer makes more money, it affects the consumer. And the consumers are not there to buy. There's a glut. So we're going to speak to everybody and try and get the prices. You need get the price controlled, but that are comfortable with everybody, where we speak to each other and understand each other and get a firm price throughout the whole value. That a soup will cost so much money, choice will cost so much money, commercial will cost so much, economy and so forth.
Are price controls really the solution here, or in fact you need to really get the value first to the farmers? Like the farmers will sell the livestock at the end, if they're selling their carcass at a low price. And in the end, it is the retailer really who has a huge markup and money.
Unfortunately, like I said, the farmer at the end of the day sells his cow for $2, but at the end of the day, his wife is in the same supermarket buying that same cow of theirs for $6. That's where the playing field is not right. So I'm saying we need to get a gap where we discuss with all the people, discuss with the industry, so that everything is a win-win situation for everybody. So where the consumers buy at a lucrative price, well, a good price, right? That is also goes pro rata with what the farmer would have sold his commodity for. So unfortunately, everything is just the situation in the country is dog eat dog. We need to sit down, discuss, and work things. Also, as well, you look at the retailers. They've got their own overheads. Property in town is not cheap. So they're probably paying a lot of rental and trying to recoup their rentals, or whatever the case may be. But there's a lot of things that got to be controlled throughout the whole value chain, through industry, everything's got to be controlled properly. well, control might not be a nice, might not be a nice word, but we've got to sit down and dialogue and reach some sort of compromise and not control. Compromise is better, where we discuss and get things.
Why is this dialogue not being done now, given the situation that farmers are really getting the short end of the stick, as it were?
Dialogues are always ongoing, Busani. We're dialoguing all the time. Just the game posts change all the time. The gate posts change all the time. But hopefully we will get there, and we are working on it as farmer unions, as well as I can answer for ZCFU. Yes, we are working on it, and we want a win-win situation for everybody, where everybody, if you're a farmer, you be a farmer. You don't have to be an abattoir, you don't have to be a feedlotter. Get everybody, there must be a cutoff, like a relay. You pass the baton, but you cannot run with that, you cannot run the relay yourself, which is what's happening now at the moment. One guy is at the beginning and he's there at the end. Let's pass the baton to someone else on throughout the whole value chain. So then everything there's traceability and there's accountability.
How are then our government policies really helping support the viability of farmers, particularly looking really in the livestock sector?
Look, government is there. The policies that have been put by government are very good. Minister of Agriculture is playing a sterling role in trying to help us out and to make the farmer achieve optimal prices for their livestock. And look, they are there to support us. I cannot say anything wrong about them, but they are there to help us, and they're setting the benchmarks and setting up. They got teams that help us. They're just a phone call away for anything, be it veterinary services, be it cropping, be it livestock. They are there to help us. So I cannot say anything, but they have put things in place, mechanisms in place to help. It's just the implementation that's hard. But we are working on getting it to work.
Yeah, because there have been situations like you look at the piggery sector, for example. Some farmers have actually pulled out, in piggery because lack of support, in terms of them, producing, pigs. They cite the issue of prices. They cite the issue of market. And also infrastructure and other inputs that go into pig production.
So pig production is very complicated in that a pig is penned and it's fed 2 kg a day, and the biggest raw material in there is soya, and we do not produce adequate soya in Zimbabwe. So most of our soya is imported. That's why the cost of production for the pig meal is high. Hence, a farmer having to buy pig meal, a bag now I think costs $30 a bag. Him to buy that to feed his pigs at 2 kg, I think, at the end of the day, it's not productive to go into pig production. So you've got a lot of farmers that are reinventing the wheel. Taking this, taking that, doing their own ingredients to make it work, but then the cost of the value to meat or the gestation period to get your meat marketable is a bit longer, making production not viable. But farmers are hanging in there trying to make it work. So we're trying to get a situation whereby government can actually bring in soya for the farmers cheaper, or we get someone, the people, United Refineries that are doing cotton cake and all, and they can use it for cooking oil. Give out grow schemes in large quantities to people, to farmers, to produce. So this commodity can go down to a reasonable price, and then pig production can come in. I know national sourwood is down. I think it's about 5,000 or 6,000 instead of the 25,000 it should be. So PIB, which is a parastatal in the Ministry of Agriculture, got a lot of hard work.
Yeah, but that's very interesting you mention it, because I then ask, where is the gap? Given that, and why can farmers not be growing soya, given there's a huge market for it? What is it? Lack of support?
Well, as I said, it will be lack of support. We haven't got many people, like how you got people coming to do our grow schemes with tobacco. If we had that kind of volume of people trying to do it in soya, it would be a game changer. The price of soya is just as production cost of soya per kg, it's just as good as tobacco. It's just a mindset to change, to get the farmers to start producing soya.
In terms of marketing, yes, one of the challenges, I say that in the market now, there's a lot of market intermediaries, the in-go-betweens, and that's something that is affecting, the issue of pricing and actually access to commodities.
Unfortunately, look, we've done outreaches and we've got AMA, Agricultural Marketing Authority, Division of Ministry of Agriculture, that set roadblocks, especially, I'll use maize. Maize is was getting poor farmers in the rural areas were getting robbed of their maize. They got no access to get their maize to GMB. The middleman, the Korokos you're talking about, who can get that maize, buy it from them for next to nothing and take it to the nearest GMB depot and sell it for the right price. So we try and encourage people like GMB through the government to try and put depots in all these farming communities where the farmer can drop off that maize and probably get paid later for his maize or get them paid for the maize there, depending on the quality. That's what we're trying to encourage government, and we're talking to government to try and get those channels looked into.
Right. And in farming, I'm also keen here, where no doubt climate change is having really an impact on agriculture productivity. What is like your union doing to promote sustainable practices? Like, we talk of climate smart agriculture now.
Look, climate change is real, Sunny. And as farmers, we've managed to acknowledge that. And going forward, look, when the land reform started, we went mad, chopping trees down, doing all that, and there was no afforestation. It looked like government got a policy, chop one tree down, plant 20. So no one was doing it, but now with AMA on board, and Emma, we're going around and checking, and the farmers themselves now have got committees for climate change that go around and check and see what's going on. That whenever someone chops some in his yard, he plants another 20 trees to prevent this climate change. In Matabeleland, we've got direct seeding machines, one tractor-driven, some ox-driven, that help the farmer to do direct plowing, where you don't turn the land, you just direct seed plows and plants at the same time. So yes, the farmers have been learning to adapt to it. And as I say, climate change is real, and look, those interventions have been taken and again worked for. And the union, we're advocating for that.
In securing the growth really of the farming sector, what strategies actually do you have in place to bring in young people, and particularly more women, into farming?
Good question, Musani. Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union has got a youth wing run by young guys, and a wing run by women as well. And as you know, every household has got a mother, and the mother runs the household. So women are considered in our union, and they got their own section, Women's League, and we got a youth wing as well. As you know, the government and most governments throughout the world are processing, channeling all monies through youth and women. And we've actually done that and encouraging women to join the women's section of the Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union and the youth to join the youth section of Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers to enhance the farming activities.
Yeah, I also thought I could actually come in here and also ask you, given yes the number of challenges that you've actually outlined that are facing farmers, we have also the whole issue of energy security. And how is that now actually impacting on the operations of farmers?
Usani, renewable energy, particularly solar panels and solar equipment, comes into the country duty-free. So any farmer can actually come get a letter from Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union and attach it to where you can get a clearance from ZIRA or whoever the relevant ministry is to allow that farmer to come with his equipment duty-free. Renewable energy is the way to go. And we're encouraging farmers to do that. Come to the union, we give you a letter, duty-free letter, where you don't have to pay. We certify that you are a farmer and that you are on the ground farming, so you can bring this equipment in. So we don't get the Korokosas coming and now using this facility to bring things for resale.
How optimistic are you about the future of agriculture in Zimbabwe?
Look, as a farmer, and I speak for a lot of other farmers throughout the whole country, farming is good. It's going to be the way to go. We've got the land. We're getting the title deeds now. It's just a matter of us folding our sleeves up and forgetting about the past and just working and working and working to get it right for the future generations to come.
There you are. There's great hope, in fact, for the viability and the future of agriculture in Zimbabwe. My guest was actually Winston Babbage, who's the Vice President of the Zimbabwe Commercial Farmers Union, who was actually elaborating on the opportunities as well as actually the challenges that farmers have actually faced. This is our second line. Remember to actually join us on our future programs and all on our social media platforms on CITE ZW to keep up to date on these important conversations on agriculture.